Wix Studio, one end-to-end web creation platform for your agency to deliver exceptional work with absolute efficiency.
The #1 long-form writer that helps SEOs outrank competition at the click of a button using real-time research and NLP. Start ranking content today with content@scale.ai.
All right, hi everyone, I'm Gus, I work at Indeed, and today I want to talk to you guys about my experience working as an SEO product manager and how thinking like a PM really changed my game as an SEO and took me out of the little bubble we live in. Those things, visibility, ranking, scrolling, all of those things, they really only matter for us, right? When you're talking with your clients or your CMO or a director, they don't really care about those things. So this is my daughter, by the way. She loves to burst bubbles, and I want to get us out of that SEO bubble today and talk more about business metrics and test things and put ourselves on a different set of shoes to see if we can get more buy-in for the things we love to do. Just to set the scene, this is a definition I borrowed from Lenny's newsletter. A product manager as someone that delivers impact by identifying and solving customer problems. So a traditional PM would be someone who would create a feature like this that you can search jobs by hybrid or remote. We all know that this is a big thing these days. So a few years ago, I'm not sure when, someone at Indeed thought we need this feature and you need to test it and see if people are using it before you actually roll out for everybody. An SEO product manager, on the other hand, this is my own definition, is someone who discovers, builds, and iterates product features, both for humans and for bots. And you guys are familiar with this, but as an SEO PM, you're going to do things like programmatic pages, internal link module, title tests, and a bunch of other things. So today I want to show you guys my process every time I'm doing a big pitch that I want to release a big feature that I need engineering resources, UX resources, and so on. I always start with a PRD, a product requirements document. It's a very long document. It can be anything from 4 to 7 pages. And once you write this down, different departments will come in and will grill you about what you are saying here and the questions they have and so on. But a document like this, it's really, really important for you to get buy-in from everybody. Even before you start building anything, you know that your CMO look at this, your director, UX team, the engineers, and everybody knows what's going to happen and how much resource is required from them. But it's also very important for you to consolidate the idea that you have, because there are a lot of shiny things in SEO, and it's easy to get derailed and just jump on the next shiny thing. So a PRD will bring you back to that place and make sure that you are staying on the right track. So let's write a PRD together today. It has a lot of different headers. It might have more or less things than the ones we are seeing here right now. So I'm just going to cover some of them, and I'm going to share a template at the end. You can actually take that on for yourself and make your own version for it. So some of the headers will be the background for that feature, the opportunity that you have while you're doing that, your MVP, which is your minimal viable product. Then you can go on your technical depth. You're going to have tons of questions from different stakeholders. And of course, the two most exciting parts, the rollout and the measurement. So let's pretend we are writing today a pitch for our company to get an automated internal link module. I'm sure this looks very different for each one of you. There's some people in e-commerce, some people in product, some people in SaaS, and all kinds of industries. So I tried to bring elements from all different areas here, so you can use this example and make it on your own. So number one is your background. You want to set the scene for the people that are reading this document. They don't really live in the SEO universe. They don't care about a lot of the things that we care. They care about how much money we're going to make it, how many leads we're going to get, how many products we're going to sell. So as basic as it is, you need to explain something like this, that internal links are an important rank factor. We all know this. Anchor text matters. We all know this as well, but if you don't live in this world, this is, I don't know, it's a Chinese or Japanese or something that is, that you probably don't understand. Then you're going to have a certain number of a specific page type on the website, and making those changes, going through all of these pages and adding links manually takes a lot of time. And so an automatic solution would save you time to execute this, but it would also save you time in terms of boosting a page. So let's say if there was a change on the strategy and you want to boost a specific keyword, you can do that straight away using an automated feature like this. Then we're going to go into the opportunity. This is how you're going to sell this to the people, right? See, so this is how much they can make from this. The MVP will cover, let's say, 50 pages, and those pages together have at least 200,000 searches per month and at least 200 leads they could get. Those numbers will change and vary, but you need to give something here to say this is how big this can be. You're never going to get 100% of what you're promising, but at least it sets a direction for people to put on the table the different things you're proposing and say, okay, this one has a better potential, let's do this first. And set some expectations. So after 3 months, you're expecting an increase of 5% in traffic and conversions. And after you do the MVP, you can future-proof this. So the same feature can be released to different domains if you have many, or to different countries. So you're doing all this big work for one feature, but you can release that in many other places as well. So that cost will decrease over time. Then the MVP, which is the minimum viable product. This takes different phases in different companies. I've heard from companies that just do a Figma design and call that an MVP. My definition is a product that is the basic version of what you want to release. It's something that is functional, that allows you to prove that impact before you spend another 3 or 6 months doing that to maybe realize later that it wasn't really doing anything. So that version is what you need to prove the impact, and then you can do and go further with more shiny things. So our MVP here today will have 50 pages that will be receiving those links, and we only will add one link to the destination page. Those 50 pages will get at least 100 links coming from other pages, and you might want or you might not want parameter trackers, but in this case, we're going to have them because a different team wants to track if people are clicking on those. And we won't add more than 5 links per page because we don't want to turn this page into a Christmas tree. And the service will update automatically when new pages are published as well. So again, you're future-proofing this product or this initiative. It's also very, very important to include what is not part of it, because I promise you, people will create their own vision. And if they don't see this, they will imply that certain things exist or will be there. So this is good to set expectations as well of what is not part of it. So in this case, there will be no UI for editors to make the change. This will be part of our V2. We won't allow multiple anchor tags to the same destination just because there are platform difficulties before we can get to do that. And we're not going to link to other products or other domains. So the MVP will just cover one of them. Then we're going to get into our technical depth, which includes essentially like a lot of the tasks that will be done by different teams here. And as Vanda said, you have a validation process here. So you want to audit your internal links and map the high converting pages and the anchor text that you want to have there. Do these pages are actually a match for it? Maybe you already added a lot of those links before, so there's no need to create an automated feature. And even to get to the numbers to say this is the potential we have, you need to do this work to write your PRD. Then you have a bit of your pre-flight work. You want to talk with different teams and different products to see how they might use this. I do a lot of things with UX, and from time to time, SEO thinks about something and UX thinks about something, and we kind of realize that we want to do the same thing for different reasons. So it's a great opportunity to partner with them as well. And maybe UX also want to have a call of how these links will appear. Do they look slightly different? Do they appear on a visual different module, or or something like that. So it's important to have that conversation with all the teams to help with your buy-in as well. Then, of course, the engineering build. You want to make sure that your platform allows for this kind of feature. And all the technical stuff, I only understand half of these, but you're going to have things like APIs, cron jobs, S3 buckets, and tons of other stuff like that. Then the second most exciting part, which is the rollout, you want to do an A/B test for 2 weeks to make sure that people are still using the page the same way. Maybe you added so many links that people stopped doing what they went to do on this page, so you're actually creating a problem. So test for a little bit, and of course, you're going to go and measure after that, and so you need to have a plan for your short-term and your long-term measuring of this initiative. We are almost there. We're going to have your open questions, and I promise you, it's very nice when people come in here and have tons of questions and kind of grill you. You might feel like they don't like what you're proposing, but it's really important when they come in because you know that they actually read what you're telling and they're interested. So some of the questions you could have on a feature like this would be, how can you ensure that the anchor text is present in at least 50 pages? Can we exclude specific articles or pages to show on this? Maybe there's a team that is protective of a specific page type and they don't want to be involved, so you need to find a way to keep them happy but still release your feature. And how easy is to update and expand this anchor text list? Because as we saw earlier, we said there will be no UI for editors to make changes, so you need to show them how this change is going to happen, if it needs to happen or when it needs to happen. The rollout, which is the most exciting part, we are just releasing this feature today, so great day. And in 6 weeks, we want to see the initial impact analysis. And in 3 months, we want to get the results from the MVP. And from there, we can decide, do you want to keep this? Do we want to develop this further or not? These are just timings that I like to use. You guys, on your own experience, might say, I prefer to try for 6 months, or I will see results in different times. That's fine. This is just how I like to approach most of the things that I do. So it could be something like this. Today, this feature is live in ENUS. In 6 weeks, there is an incremental impact of 2%. And in 3 months, you have a 10%. Now, this is the hardest part for us because, as we know, SEO is a black box. We hear a lot of depends every day, and we say a lot of it depends as well. But there are ways to actually measure the impact of specific things that you're doing. And this is what we use at Indeed. Different teams, different people will use different things. But even though I'm not a data scientist, I'm going to do my best to explain to you guys a little bit how this works. So you're going to have your test group, which are the pages that are receiving all of these links, though that's a group that is having a change being made on. The causal impact will look back 6 months, a year, and find a control group of pages that have been performing the same way. We're not looking at rankings here. We are just looking at the final KPI you have. It can be conversions or traffic. So once you find a group of pages that has this kind of the same type of traffic and go up and down same levels, doesn't need to be exactly the same number of pages, that is your control group. And to make this a little bit more visual, what you have on the top here is both the dotted line is the control group, and the other line is the test group. So you'll see how these groups, they move together until the actual intervention date happens. And ideally, if your initiative actually has an impact, those two groups will separate from each other. And that increase is the actual impact of the thing that you did, not just the growth of the whole website. As I said, the incremental traffic gain, not just any traffic gain. I've been in a situation on my first few months as a PM to go back to a more experienced PM and say, hey, we got so much traffic, look at this. All the way, the group of pages that we're testing on this are going up nonstop. And she very calmly looks back at me and say, how do we know that it's growing because of this thing you did? Because we're still publishing more pages. We are doing a bunch of other things. How do we know that all these engineering resources that you have and the things that you are building are actually the ones that are moving the needle. And until I can actually prove that it's my initiative, I won't get more credit, I won't get more resources, and I won't get a promotion. This is not an endorsement, but I would say that it's worth checking some tools like Search Pilot and Split Signal. They do similar things like the SEO A/B test. And there's a tool from a guy called Koen Leemans that he might be around here today. That is a free tool that you can also put 2 different groups there, and he's going to do the split testing for you. I haven't tested any of them, but they do look similar to what I do, so they might be a good direction for you to go. These tools are expensive, so if you don't have all this money to put behind them, you can actually look at the SEO case study from Adam Gent, who's also here in the front, by the way, which is a group of pages that it's a paid database, but it's a lot less than all the other tools that I mentioned before. And it has a list of case studies from different areas and how much they grew. And you could use this as a proxy for what you're doing. So if you are doing a new specific page type, but you don't know what is the impact that the thing that you're doing could have, you could use this as a benchmark and say, hey, some other people did this and they got a 5% lift. Okay, I'm going to put this 5% lift on my PRD. These are all different things you can test when you're doing A/B testing or when you're thinking like an SEO product manager. You can't test FAQs anymore, as we know, but there are tons of different things, and these are just some of them. I'm sure once you start getting closer to your website, and you're going to start having more ideas of different things you can test. Before we wrap it up, I have just a few more tips that we can work together as SEO and product teams. The first one is test small and increase gradually. You want to get the buy-in. You want to learn as you go. And a lot of things do not really work the way we envision. Sometimes things are very clear or we think they're pretty obvious in SEO, but once you start developing, they might not work. So do your MVP, see how it works, learn the problems that you're going to have as you go, and then you do your iterations, and you're going to keep making changes and developing more your product and your initiative. Have a plan to revert the changes. If something doesn't go the way you want, and ideally this shouldn't happen, but it might happen and you're going to be frustrated, but if you're causing a problem on conversions, or if you're causing a problem on how people behave on the page, or a different team doesn't like this, you might need to revert this, so be prepared to have that plan to move back. And document your progress. I'm talking about wiki pages or PRDs. I promise you, in 6 months, you will not remember why you wanted to do this in the first place, and things will be completely a little bit of a mess. So this is good for you to come back in a few months and say, this is the hypothesis I had when I started this. And for your client, your director, your CMO to go back and say, oh yes, this is what Gus promised to us, so they can understand what is in the game here, what you're planning to achieve. And yeah. So a PRD is your pitch to get a buy-in. I love writing PRDs, and it really helps me to get better at pitching my idea. So I would highly recommend you guys, if you're doing anything that is going to require a lot of engineering resources, I don't do slides at all anymore. This is how I pitch everything. And that's all for me. There is a template on my website that I'm going to leave there for a couple of days, so go there and take a look. And I talk a lot about SEO product management on my Twitter, on my LinkedIn, and on my website as well. And that's all for now. Thank you very much.
Monthly reporting making you want to shove sharp things up your nose? Try Dragon Metrics, the all-in-one SEO software with mind-blowing reporting tools.